Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS. Continuing on with bowl season. I'm actually recording this before the Memphis-West Virginia game. I didn't bet it, though, so I don't really care. I'll watch it, but I don't have a bet in the game. I actually have a bet in one of these, though. There's two games for Wednesday night. Going to go through both of them. My bet is in the second one. Western Kentucky, James Madison, and Cal versus UNLV. Let's do it. Welcome to the SWUS. Hey, get the sauce. First up, we got Western Kentucky against James Madison. This is the Boca Raton Bowl being played in Boca. This is where FAU plays their home games. James Madison is laying pretty much 7 across the board. I do see a couple 7.5s out there. Total sitting at 50, pretty much 51.5 across the board. Let's get into this one. We'll start with the pie charts. According to the data, action's coming in pretty heavily on the James Madison side. 80% of the tickets, over 90% of the money. As I always say, take this data with a grain of salt. So let's talk about this one, and we'll start with the Western Kentucky offense against the James Madison defense. As I'm sure you probably already know, Western Kentucky's offense under Tyson Helton is about as pass heavy as you can get. One of the best passing group of 5 programs in the country year after year. You could see they're 31st in yards per pass attempt, 35th in success rate per dropback. They're rated 65th in effective pass, but they're going to have their hands full here against James Madison, who's 17th in the country in yards per pass attempt allowed, 4th in success rate per dropback, 20th in effective pass. So will the Hilltoppers be able to throw the ball in this game? Well, James Madison does have some elite numbers against the pass on the season, but if you isolate it to just the games they played against top 75 offenses, they are susceptible. I mean, 8.28 yards per pass attempt, 39.3% success rate per dropback is actually still pretty good, 250 passing yards allowed per game. So the elite defensive numbers against the pass for James Madison might be in part due to the fact that they don't see a ton of elite passing attacks. That being said, I mean, I don't know what we can expect here from Western Kentucky offensively. Quarterback Caden Velkamp did enter the transfer portal, but from what I'm reading, he's going to play. I don't know. From what I'm reading, it looks like he's going to play. They lost one of their wide receivers. Also, the starting center and the starting guard both entered the transfer portal as well. From what I'm reading, there's a chance those two guys are going to play, but they're the second and third highest rated offensive linemen for Western Kentucky and the first and second highest rated pass blocking offensive lineman according to Pro Football Focus. So missing those two pieces on the offensive line would be huge here. The reason for that is James Madison can definitely pressure the passer. They're 44th in pressure rate, 10th in sack rate, 36th in pass rush grade. Now, Western Kentucky does have some solid numbers in pass protection this year, but like we just said, they may be missing two of their most important pieces, two of their most important offensive linemen. So if those two guys don't play in this game, James Madison should not have problems getting pressure on Caden Velkamp in this one. Now, there is an opt-out on the James Madison side, on the defensive side of the ball here, but it's a D tackle. As far as the edge rushers, the main pass rushers, they're all still there. They're all going to play in this game. So James Madison should be able to pressure Caden Velkamp in this one, and that's a problem. His splits when given a clean pocket are pretty great looking, but you put some pressure on Caden Velkamp and he runs into some problems. We definitely see a dip in production from Velkamp when he experiences pressure. So I don't like that matchup at all for Velkamp and the Western Kentucky passing attack here. Not to mention, this is a passing attack that's been trending in the wrong direction for a month now. Caden Velkamp took over the starting job from TJ Finley in week 3, and it looked great for 7 games. Caden Velkamp's first 7 starts, I mean, over 52% success rate per dropback, 9.9 yards per attempt, over 296 passing yards per game. It was looking like the Western Kentucky offense we're used to seeing, the Austin Reed years, the Bailey Zappi years. I mean, this looked great, this passing attack. But in his last 4 games, I mean, 6.23 yards per attempt. Success rate per dropback is down under 40%, down to 219 passing yards per game. And this is a passing offense. 219 passing yards per game from a pass-first offense is not going to cut it. So this Western Kentucky passing attack really hasn't looked right in a while now. And if you're thinking, hey, maybe Western Kentucky can run the ball, James Madison is missing their starting defensive tackle, I don't think so, man. I mean, Western Kentucky hasn't been able to run the ball at all. In their last 5 games, 3.33 yards per carry, success rate per rush under 33%, 95.8 rushing yards per game. Matched up against a James Madison defense, okay, maybe they're missing a defensive tackle, a starter on the defensive line. It's a great run defense, so no. I don't expect Western Kentucky to run the ball in this one. Caden Velkamp should be under pressure. If both of those pieces on the offensive line play, maybe he has some clean pockets to throw from, and maybe he's able to make some throws, but as a whole, I don't have a ton of faith here in this Western Kentucky offense. They haven't looked right in a while. But what about the matchup on the other side of the ball? We got the James Madison offense against the Western Kentucky defense. On paper, this looks like a pretty solid matchup for JMU. 44th in yards per play, 65th in success rate. Look at the matchup on the ground here. James Madison, 30th in yards per carry, 31st in success rate per rush. Matched up against a Western Kentucky defensive front that's been getting run on consistently for a while now. 107th in yards per carry allowed, 119th in success rate per rush. So you like that matchup if you're betting James Madison here. Here's the problem. James Madison quarterback Barnett is not playing in this game. He's injured. It's not transfer portal. He literally got hurt in the last game of the regular season. Barnett is not going to play in this game, and he had himself a great season. It looks like the starter in his spot is going to be Billy Atkins, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know a lot about Billy Atkins. I can tell you that the last time he started a game was October 22nd in 2022 against Marshall. He was 13 of 35, 164 yards, a touchdown, 4 picks, and a 63.1 passer rating. So the last time he started, it was not pretty. I will say that was 2 years ago. So you definitely don't like the look of that, especially if you're trying to lay a full 7 points here. That being said, does it really matter? Because James Madison is an offense that wants to run the ball first. And against Western Kentucky, I mean, this James Madison offensive line should generate 4 yards of push on every single snap. They're 28th in line yards, 38th in stuff rate. Western Kentucky's defensive line, 120th and 128th. So does James Madison even need to throw the ball in this game? They should be able to hand the ball off and have no problems. Look at the last 5 games for both of these units. Western Kentucky in their last 5 games allowing over 314 rushing yards per game. Over 314 rushing yards per game. Over 5.9 yards per carry, 54% success rate per rush. James Madison in their last 5 games, 211 rushing yards per game, over 4.8 yards per carry, success rate per rush up close to 47%. So yeah, I mean, James Madison should be able to hand the ball off 45 times in this game and have no problems running it. So even if you are worried about this kid, Billy Atkins, playing quarterback, and I get it if you are, you could definitely have some faith in the James Madison rushing attack here, which is why when it comes to betting the game, the only way I would go is James Madison minus the 7. Maybe a James Madison team total over. You can get a 29.5. That's where I'd go with it personally. Next game, California Golden Bears against the UNLV Rebels. This is the Art of Sport LA Bowl. This one's being played at SoFi, so they're out in LA. Perfect conditions here. We got Cal versus UNLV. Let's take a look at the line, see if it's moved since I last. 1 second. UNLV now still mostly 3s here. I do see a 2.5, but mostly 3 across the board. Slightly juiced towards Cal. Plus 3. Total sitting at 48, mostly 48 or 47.5. Take a look at the pie charts, and according to the data, accents coming in pretty heavily on the UNLV side. Over 70% of the tickets, over 75% of the money. As I always say, take this data with a grain of salt. So let's get into this matchup, and we'll talk about the Cal offense against the UNLV defense. Now, Cal, we got all kinds of questions here about the Cal offense. So this is a pass-first offense all the way. And the passing attack with Mendoza, it had its ups and downs this year, but as a whole, it wasn't bad. They were 40th in yards per pass attempt, 42nd in success rate per dropback, 50th in effective pass. Matched up against a UNLV defense that is susceptible to the pass. Obviously, they play in the Mountain West, a little bit of a questionable schedule, but they're 32nd in yards per pass attempt allowed, 53rd in success rate per dropback, 38th in effective pass. Now, here's where this matchup gets confusing. Cal quarterback Fernando Mendoza entered the portal. It looks like he will not be playing in this game. Their backup quarterback is Chandler Rogers. You might remember him from North Texas last year. Problem is, it looks like he's hurt. It doesn't look like he can play in this game either, which means we're going to see, let me look up the names because I honestly forgot. CJ Harris, who's a sophomore transfer from Ohio, who from what I'm reading is more of a scrambler, not much of a thrower, or a freshman named EJ Kaminong. Not going to pretend to know who that is. So basically what I'm saying is we have no idea what to expect from Cal at quarterback here. Like I said, this was a pass-first offense all season, 23rd in passing frequency. So are they going to come out and throw the ball? I have no idea. And it's especially concerning because Cal hasn't been able to run the football this entire year. Remember, Jaden Ott was banged up, and then he came back. And this whole year, they haven't been able to run the ball consistently. Week 1, Week 14, they haven't been able to run the ball this whole year. On the season, they're averaging 3.56 yards per carry, 41% success rate per rush, 117.3 rushing yards per game. So is Cal about to come out and try running the ball in this game against the UNLV defensive front that's been really tough against the run this year? 25th in stuff rate, 26th in line yards. Look at the Cal offensive line, 122nd and 119th. Now, to be fair, Cal plays an ACC schedule and UNLV plays a Mountain West schedule, so you can't really, these are apples and oranges here, these two numbers. But still, this is a UNLV defensive front that's tough, stays on the line of scrimmage against a Cal offensive line that hasn't generated push all year. So is Cal going to run the ball in this game? I would have to say probably not. So how could we have any faith in the Cal offense? We don't know who's playing quarterback. They can't run the ball. We like the UNLV defense. They've been pretty solid all year. I don't think Cal's going to be able to move the ball in this game. Granted, we don't know what to expect. It is bowl season, but I think on paper, this looks like a tough matchup for Cal offensively. But here's the thing. Before you go hammer UNLV, there's all kinds of questions on the other side as well. First of all, Barry Odom, no longer the coach. I believe he took the Purdue job, and the OC, I believe, is gone as well. It looks like the interim head coach is the wide receivers coach here. So the wide receivers coach is coaching this game for UNLV, and they're matched up against Cal's defense. On the offensive side of the ball, we have all kinds of questions for Cal, all kinds of questions about the Cal offense, but this Cal defense has been tough all year. They're 26th in yards per play, 54th in success rate, tough against the run, a little bit susceptible to the pass, but 9th in the country in yards per carry allowed, 47th in success rate per rush against an ACC schedule versus UNLV's offensive numbers against a Mountain West schedule. Look at Cal's numbers against the run in their last 6 games. 97.3 rushing yards allowed per game, under 2.9 yards per carry, 37% success rate per rush. That's against NC State, okay, passing offense. Oregon State can run the ball. Wake Forest, okay, but still an ACC program. Syracuse is a passing offense. Stanford can run the ball a little bit. And SMU, this is against ACC competition. They're holding their opponents to under 2.9 yards per carry. So I don't think UNLV is going to be able to run the ball in this game. Now, you might be thinking, well, Kyle, I like UNLV to throw the ball in this game. We have seen Cal get thrown on a few times this year. They're a little more susceptible to the pass. But the thing is, UNLV and Malik Williams, although they've shown us they could be an explosive offense, they've been doing it against Mountain West competition. Cal is definitely an ACC defense. And also, they may be without Ricky White, who's by far their best receiving weapon, and it's not even close. Over 3,300 career receiving yards, 11 touchdowns. He entered the transfer portal. I don't know if he's going to play in this game. And if they don't have him, I do not trust Malik Williams to piece up an ACC defense without his main weapon, especially without run support as well, because I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. So I like the matchup for the Cal defense. So when it comes to betting the game, I can't bet Cal with all the question marks on the offensive side of the ball there. I don't even know who's playing quarterback, but I can bet the under. Give me the under, 48.5. I actually bet this one. I took the under, 48.5. I don't love the fact that it's at SoFi, perfect conditions, but still on the under here. Bowl season, got to try something. Live show, 4 p.m. Eastern time. We'll go through these two games. We'll go through there is no NBA. We won't go through NBA. I will go through some college basketball. If you're able to make it, would love to see you in the comments. Let's have ourselves a good one. Hit me up in the Discord if you need me. Later.